campaigning, we talked about getting the cost of living down. We talked about empowering parents. We talked about investing in law enforcement. We talked about getting this economy moving, and we talked about a government that would go to work for Virginians and not tell us what to do all the time. And we are doing everything we can to deliver on that agenda. And so this morning, I would love to have a conversation about cost of living and about tax cuts. Because we sit here today in a Virginia which I think has got a little bit of a misperception. In Virginia today, we have government coffers that are full. Government coffers that have in fact exceeded all forecasts by overtaxing and overfeeing Virginians. And I believe that's your money, not the government's money. We also know that many, many Virginians are moving away from Virginia. And in fact, we have more Virginians moving away than moving here from the other 49 states. And one of the top reasons for moving away is cost of living. Is cost of living. Now, so much of our cost of living is unfortunately dictated by decisions that are made in Washington, D.C. and not in Richmond. Decisions that I think are bad decisions that have driven inflation, that in fact have seen energy policy drive up energy prices as opposed to keep them low. Where we've seen supply chain interruptions. And in fact, those supply chain interruptions have manifested themselves in rising cost across everything that we buy, including groceries. And we have seen the price of groceries go through the roof. Inflation last year was as high as it's been for 40 years. Well over 7%, and is expected in the first 6 months of this year to potentially be as high as 6% again. And this is in fact what I call the silent thief. The silent thief, in fact, taking away all the hard-earned wages and salaries and earnings that so many Virginians want to keep. So we've got work to do, because we, in fact, can reduce our tax burden on Virginians and invest in those most important initiatives. Invest in our schools, invest in law enforcement, invest in our mental health and behavioral health system. We can invest, but we also can cut taxes. And so we've got a big set of decisions that will collectively be made over the course of the next few weeks in our state legislature, and hopefully a budget bill that will be passed to me that I can sign. But in that budget bill, we need to cut taxes. We've talked about this for a year now. We're going to eliminate the grocery tax. It is an extraordinarily regressive tax. We're only one of 13 states that taxes groceries. It also burdens those Virginians that are least capable of paying it the most. The most. We're going to eliminate the grocery tax. Second of all, we're going to double the standard deduction. Doubling the standard deduction from $9,000 to $18,000 is a incredibly efficient way. It's an incredibly efficient way to get tax cuts to everybody, to those Virginians that need them the most. Third is we will suspend the most recent nickel increase in the gas tax for 1 year. We've watched gas prices go through the roof. We've watched them go through the roof, and they don't seem to have any inclination to come back down. And so to put an incremental nickel that's unnecessary right now, because there's plenty of money in the system in order to fund our roads, to make sure that we are not only maintaining them, but able to invest in new projects. There's plenty of money in the system. So this is a moment for us to give Virginians a break for a year. Fourth is we believe that our veterans are such a critical part of our community. And we see more veterans moving away just like Virginians than staying here. And we are only one of a handful of states that actually taxes our veterans' retirements. And so we see bills moving through both the Senate and the House in order to exclude up to $40,000 of our veterans' retirement benefits from being taxed so they will stay here in Virginia and continue to contribute mightily to our communities. So we can, in fact, get the burden on Virginia taxpayers down going forward. But we also have overtaxed Virginians in the past. And so there's a chance for us right now to give Virginians back your money. And so there's also bills working through both sides of the House and the Senate to declare the largest tax rebate in the history of Virginia to give you back your money. In aggregate, for a typical Virginia family, it totals $1,500 in the first year. $1,500. As I have said over and over again, it is your money, not government's money. Now, one of the great privileges that I've had since we were inaugurated on January 15th, and we had the great privilege of going to work for all of you, was attracting an extraordinary cabinet. And our Secretary of Finance, Steve Cummings, is here with us today. And Steve, who has got just a outstandingly successful career in finance, has joined our cabinet in order to make sure that we're staying steady, to make sure that we're bringing fiscal discipline to everything we do, to make sure that we bring an outsider's perspective to government finances. We can, in fact, again, and I'll repeat this, we can cut taxes. We can cut taxes with a tax rebate and going forward reduce the tax burdens on Virginians and invest. And in fact, do it all right now in a way that is consistent with really the mandate all Virginians gave us when you elected us on November the 2nd. So this is an incredibly important time, because this is the decisions that will be made over the next few weeks as our legislature concludes its process and they send me bills and a budget to sign. And in that budget, I want to make sure that we eliminate the grocery tax, suspend the most recent increase in the gas tax, double the standard deduction, declare the largest tax rebate in the history of Virginia, and make sure that our veterans understand we want them here by excluding up to $40,000 of their retirement benefits. So this morning, Secretary Cummings and I wanted to meet with Virginians. And what better place to do it than here in Loudoun County? What better place to do it? County, so much of the nation's focus for Virginia started. Liberty, individual freedoms, the recognition that it's your decision over your children's education, upbringing, and health. It's your decisions over your finances. It's individual liberty that this nation was founded upon. And so I am so excited to be with all of you this morning. And what I'd love to do, if we can, Secretary Cummings and I are here. We'd love to answer a few of your questions. Alicia's going to play the role of MC this morning. And I have one warning for all of you, which is oftentimes people believe in these settings, it's your opportunity to ask me questions, and then Secretary Cummings and I always answer. We reserve the right to ask you questions as well. Because we do our jobs better when we hear from you. We do our jobs better when we hear from you. So again, thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for loving the Commonwealth of Virginia. And Alicia, I'm going to pass it back over to you.
Thank you, Governor.